Yeah. Okay, we are live. Hello, San Bernardino County. My name is Mike Byers. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the District Attorney's Office, and we're so glad that you could join us today. We have an important message from Supervisor Curt Hagman as well as District Attorney Jason Anderson. If you're watching this live, we'd appreciate it if you would go ahead and hit that share button and put this on your profile, your business page, your group, whatever it might be, so that we can get this word out to the great members of our community. If you're watching the replay of this broadcast, please do the same thing. Share it onto your profile page or group, and also make sure you like it so that we can help with the analytics and the reach on the social media platforms. So with that, we're going to start with Supervisor Curt Hagman with a message that he'd like to talk to or tell everybody here in San Bernardino County.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Jason, for having us on. And I just want to say on behalf of the Board of Supervisors that we have been watching the news in Minnesota and other places about the tragic death of George Floyd. We were all very disturbed by those videos that are coming on the news. And we know that people are very angry and people have a lot of angst about seeing those disturbing images. But here in San Bernardino County, we have our logo is SB Strong, and we are resilient. Whether that be a fire, earthquakes, terrorist attacks, or now the COVID virus, as a county, our residents stand together and be very strong. We, as the county board and your county elected officials, will make sure that if people want to demonstrate, they have the ability to do so in a peaceful and safe manner through our community. We understand the outrage that comes through and the feelings that the emotions that turn up by watching those videos. So we want to respect your rights and enforce them in a peaceful and safe manner as we go forward. And just remember that together that we are stronger, we are resilient, we will work together through this, and know that the voices are being heard here on the County Board of Supervisors level. And thank you, Mike, for giving us this opportunity to share with you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to come. I think it's really important that the people of San Bernardino County, that's one of the great things here about our county is that we are approachable, we're transparent, and we always strive to do the right thing. I know you've got meetings to go to, sir, so I will kindly bump you out of the broadcast, and have a great day, sir.
Thank you, Mike. And
thanks, Supervisor Hagman. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Okay, so there we are, sir. Good morning, and I'm sure the county. A lot of people want to hear from you about what's going on in our country.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I really appreciate Supervisor Hagman making time this morning to do this rather impromptu to assure residents in this county. In terms of what our approach has been, since I've come into this seat and been fortunate enough to be here for going on 2 years is to reach out to every community and make sure that we always have dialogue. I've done that this morning already in terms of some of the leadership in the African-American community in San Bernardino County and leadership on all groups in our community in San Bernardino County, because that's ultimately what it's about. And I really want to assure people that if you take a look at our mission statement, the main theme of our mission statement is equal justice for all. And I just want to assure residents that that's exactly what it means. When it comes to the issues that we deal with on a criminal level or a criminal justice level, it's all about character and integrity and not about the issue of the color of someone's skin. And we certainly want to do everything we can to root out any type of bigotry and unequal treatment in our system, no matter where it may exist. And we've been fortunate to have a tremendous dialogue with leaders in communities, particularly in communities that have been underserved historically in the criminal justice system, to keep those dialogues open. And I've always said that I think it's most important in a position, particularly in the district attorney's office, that has a tremendous impact on the criminal justice system and ensuring that people are treated equally, that it's best if I keep my ears open as opposed to running my mouth all the time. And I always want to keep my ears open to leadership in communities that want to articulate areas in which we can do better. We're sensitive to things that we've seen over the last couple of months that have occurred across our country that personally I'm bothered by. I can't weigh in on those things because they're not in my jurisdiction, but I can certainly assure people that we were always sensitive to the types of acts that could occur in this county and that we will treat them as equal justice under the law for everyone. And so I already appreciate the leaders reaching out to me, wanting to have dialogue. And I appreciate people who want to be heard in a manner in which they want to go out and they want to protest and they want to talk about issues and they want to highlight issues and continue with issues in regards to struggles that underrepresented communities have historically had in the criminal justice system. We want to make sure that we reduce and eliminate that in our community. And one of the things that I would say is that as I want to have my ears open, I don't want to be distracted by protests that could turn violent or unlawful, because equal justice under the law means we would have to respond to those things also. And those take away from the clearly legitimate, sincere, and dear message that we need to make sure that we keep a focus on the things that I talked about earlier in terms of character, integrity, eliminating unequal treatment, and listening to every community in San Bernardino County and how the impact of what recently has gone on across our country to make sure that we're really at the forefront of keeping our ears open and wanting to have the proper dialogue with anybody who wants to discuss issues that they may have when it comes to an impact between law enforcement and the criminal justice system. So I really appreciate the opportunity, hopefully, just to reach out briefly and assure everybody, look at our mission statement. It's something that we all wake up here in the office every day looking at on our computer and instilling in the courts, and making sure that if and when there needs to be improvements made, that we are listening to people who are impacted, and that we want to assist in those changes and keep that dialogue going, because that's the best way to make the best change in the new normal as we possibly could. So I appreciate the opportunity to address this issue now, Mike, and hopefully we can continue to have really the collaboration that we've had oftentimes with community groups in San Bernardino County for the last 18 to 20 months that I've really, really enjoyed, and appreciate all of the leaders who have stepped up in the residents in the county who have always felt very comfortable to reach out, which I really appreciate that, because I think that's the way in which you get past sort of the platitudes, the cliches, and the lip service of saying you want to make change, but actually getting down to it and seeing what some of those change results can bring about for all of us in our community, including everyone.
Yeah, excellent. And I mean, one of the things that we do pride ourselves here in the office is the fact of being transparent and addressing issues. And we've talked about this before. There is a person that's commenting here, Carlos Avalos. It's really very clear in all of his content. He is not happy with the leadership in the county and what's going on, and basically what we're saying. And Carlos, all I can tell you is you have to give us the respect in knowing that we're trying to bridge these gaps with people by being transparent and approachable. And Carlos, by all means, we will entertain a discussion with you and talk about this. And that's what it's all about. Because if we have organizations that don't approach us and aren't transparent, then we do have that problem, Carlos. Would Jason, you care to expand on that?
Well, it's exactly right. I mean, and I never want to be in a position where somebody thinks that the only way you can have a discussion with the district attorney is if you agree with the district attorney's viewpoints. That's not something that we want. We prefer. I think the best dialogue you have is with people that have a different perspective. Also, sometimes who will give you information that you're not aware of, give you ideas that you're not aware of or haven't personally experienced, in that way to challenge oftentimes the way in which we do things, and to disagree at times, which is fine. I mean, we've had numerous opportunities over the last 18 months with our community commission where we've sat down for hours and had discussions, and we leave. And there are not always agreements in terms of the way in which things may be handled or have been handled in the past or will be handled in the future. But the key is that we continue to have those discussions every 3 or 4 months. And so I think the richness is in the ability to disagree, to understand differences, to understand different perspectives, and then build on some of the commonalities, or even have the ability to recognize, hey, maybe there are things that we need to change. And so Carlos bringing that forward, that's certainly a viewpoint and opinion that I'm glad he is recommending. And as I said, our ears are always open to listen to everyone's perspective in our community as it relates to our criminal justice system.
Yeah, and I see some comments here in regards to the Brown Act and school districts and things that are happening in some of the communities with elected officials. And again, we're open to discussion with that. It's just at this time, we're just addressing one particular issue, and that is that we want to make sure that our community stays safe, especially after we saw some of the activities last night here in one of our communities in Fontana. And, that concerns all of us. And we don't want anybody to feel like they can't walk out of their homes and just drive down the street. And so, like you said, we're open. You said it best earlier today that, hey, protesting, that's fine. Great. Just don't put lives in jeopardy or damage, commit crimes. Like you said, we don't want to, our office does not want to spend time filing charges for rioting, right?
I want to hear people's viewpoint. I want to hear people's message. I want to hear the important perspectives that everybody brings when there's instances of what we've seen across the country occur. It's very difficult to stay focused and in tune on the message when we have to devote resources to what is oftentimes turning into needless violence from protests that oftentimes we don't want to see. The idea of being socially conscious and protesting turn into an excuse to engage in illegal activity. Because if equal justice under the law means anything, it means we also have to ensure that innocent people are protected, despite people expressing their views in a way that turns violent or unlawful. And I would much rather spend the time listening to the important messages that people have to say in times like this, and instead of devoting resources to other things that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. And, we've got a comment here. I put it up on the screen. Vernell Hill, he's saying corrupt officers need to be held accountable just like every other human. And I know
he's correct.
That,
he's absolutely correct.
Absolutely.
And when you have situations in which you have the opportunity to devote resource to have an investigation and to consider everything you can in an investigation, he's absolutely right. And I just want to assure people that applies in every type of case, whether it's, private citizen who becomes a suspect in a crime. We look at everything and we make the determinations of whether we can prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt, regardless of that person's status in the community or what they do. And that's why it goes back to what I was talking about. It's about the character and the integrity of an investigation, the information that you get and the time that you take and the deliberative process that occurs. That oftentimes, the public feels, I think sometimes because information isn't given to them soon enough, that they feel like there's some distrust, which we tried to overcome. But Mr. Hill's correct. That's a statement that I don't think anybody would disagree with, who's being objective and being reasonable. And I really appreciate his comments in a forum like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to let everybody know, so we originally just wanted to come out and give some information, and again, just tell people, hey, please, let's treat our community. The rest of the country is looking at San Bernardino County actually as a role model. We've been through so many things over the years, and we've always been strong at coming out of it. And regardless of what side of the issue you're on, such as Carlos is being upset with, quite frankly, the government, criminal justice system, or whether you're a big proponent, it doesn't matter. We all need to unify, and we need to share our experiences and our opinions, but let's not destroy our own community or make people scared of just driving down the street and protesters. Let's do this right. And, try to just make some positivity come out for the country and be a role model. We want to hear you. And so I know there's a lot of people here that are leaving comments, and they're great, valuable comments, and we want to address them. However, I think what we're going to have to do, sir, maybe we just reschedule another live stream when we can clear your schedule. Because honestly, this all got developed at about 5 a.m. this morning when I saw what had happened overnight. So Carlos and the other people, even if you're against us, we want to hear from you. We want to open that dialogue up. So we'll schedule another live stream. I'll try to put that out today, and let's have everybody, involved in that so we can open that dialogue.
And Mike, again, I would end by this as saying that our office is very accessible initially from the standpoint of you can go on our website and you can read our mission statement, and our mission statement says it all. And what I'm glad about, and it's fortuitous in a way, is that this mission statement was chosen almost 2 years ago, not knowing that we'd be coming out of a pandemic, which has affected everybody, and obviously not knowing the events over the last couple of months in places like Georgia and Minnesota, that, we didn't write this in response to something that's occurred and try to make it political. This is what we mean. And so if people really want to know the direction that we'll go in this county and what this office will do, if and when we experience instances like they have in other parts of the country, read our mission statement. We will hold dear to it. And I ask the public to hold us accountable to our mission statement, to make sure that it has that character and integrity that is necessary. And that's by basically having the accountability of the public and people who have weighed in this morning with their comments. That's exactly what we wanted. So that's where I would tell people to look, Mike, and then certainly later on we'll continue to have the ability to engage in an interactive way with other nuanced questions that people will have. And so I really thank you for the chance to reach out just quickly to folks and just remember, let's express ourselves. Let's remain peaceful. Let's remain lawful. That's the best way to have any messages heard and any discourse to be had. And I just am thrilled with what I've experienced by all the communities in San Bernardino County when we've had issues. And I just implore anybody to reach out to us if you have additional concerns or questions.
Yeah, excellent. And there's so many great comments. The last comment I'm going to address, though, that I mean, we could address all of them. Michael Gomez Daly says you should stop being condescending. You're approaching this as if the protests are the problem. Michael, I'm just going to tell you, you need to go back and watch what District Attorney Anderson said. He's okay with the protesting. The protesting does not need to involve violence or destroying people that work very hard for their businesses, or going in and looting. So we're not against the protest. We're against the illegal.
Even the protection of the people that are protest lawfully. I mean, you have situations in which, you have people with all the right intentions and all the right mindset that go out and they want to be heard. And then there's others that'll infiltrate these protests that lead to unlawful or violent behavior. And it puts the people that are sacrificing their time and their efforts there to be heard, and it puts at risk at those messages being heard, and even can put those people in harm's way. And so, it's really a global approach that we look at, and it's always been the history in this country that good change can come about when there's people who disagree in the proper way and come forward and make themselves heard. That's what we desire. We're all going to be in a situation at which, we want to reach out and say, hey, we disagree with this or we disagree with that. We want to do it in the right way. So I don't want to come across as patronizing or condescending anyway. But, we do have a responsibility every day to keep every citizen of this county safe. And that includes if it's going to be at the hands of people who are going to get out of control as it relates to a protest.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, with that, we're going to wrap it up. We will reschedule another one because we could see there's a lot of people here that have concerns. They're concerned about their community. They're concerned about the police. They're concerned about District Attorney's Office. And we want to address those things. We want to fulfill being a very transparent organization. So with that, again, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this, the replay of this, please remember to share this, give us some likes so that we get, by doing that, doesn't mean, if you're against us, you can still give us likes, because what that does is it helps pop it up into the algorithm for all the social media platforms, so that other people see this and they hear your voice and see your comments as well as ours. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for, tuning in, and let's just bridge this gap and just be as transparent as possible. Appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, thanks.